Please welcome to the stage Chief Design Officer of Consumer Devices at Google, Ivy Ross, and author and investor, Tony Fadell.
Good morning.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, you are here.
We're going to introduce ourselves. We've got such a small audience. Let's, we're
make
gonna know all your names. We'll
a fireside chat.
Yeah.
So in early 2000s, his efforts to build a pocket-sized device that could hold 1,000 songs caught the attention of Apple. Within months, he had been hired by the firm, and less than a year after his first phone call with Apple, the iPod was shipping to customers. He then went on to play a key role in the creation of the iPhone, and after he decided to leave Apple, he co-founded Nest Labs, reinvented the thermostat, and by the way, that was the first device to have some AI in it, and ushered in an era of the interconnected home. But after leaving Nest in 2016, he pivoted and started Build Collective, a fund that advises and invests in startups, building solutions to address some of the world's biggest problems, including the climate crisis. Tony is a rare kind of builder, equal parts technologist, entrepreneur, and visionary. And most importantly, he was a mentor of mine.
And you of me.
Oh, we got to work together for, what, a year and a half? Yeah.
But it felt so much long, in a good way. It felt
No, and the great thing, we talked about data and intuition yesterday at a talk I was at, and actually here's a guy that taught me about intuition. So
that is kind of
so that was great.
Someone who's very emotionally in touch, and I'm still trying to get there.
Okay.
You're an inspiration for me.
Oh, thank you. So why don't we start with how you think about making products? What are the core philosophies that guide your product decisions? What needs to be true for you to say yes to building something? Because I know that we're both builders at heart. You know, when you have a builder mentality, I think you're a builder of whether it's small-scale products, teams, companies, or
Yourself?
even architecture, right?
Yeah, all of them.
And you can't help yourself. But I watched you in action being that builder. But I know you described this so well in your book, Build, but tell us in your own words.
The most important thing, this is what I learned, was pain. Start with the pain. Pain. You know, a lot of people go from the creativity angle and are going to go from, like, okay, I have this imagined world. I start from the pain. I learned, because I had this imagined world when I was a kid, like, I want to build this, I want to build that, and I did that all the way up till kind of General Magic, Mark. And I wanted to just build these crazy things. And then what I realized at General Magic was we were having so much fun building stuff. We weren't solving anybody's pain at that point. There was no pain around downloadable emails and games and e-ticketing and e-retail. Like, we had all emojis. We were doing all this stuff in 1992, 93. No one knew. There was no even internet. There was no Wi-Fi. There was even mobile data. Like, we were doing. So we're having lots of fun imagining this world, but nobody had the pain of what it meant until 15 years later, when they were carrying a laptop to do their internet surfing, and then their phone for doing communications, and then their iPod for doing entertainment. No one knew that in 93 that they needed the device we were making at General Magic then, which was literally the iPhone 15 years too early, right? So everything in my design philosophy has all been about where's the pain a lot of people feel now, and what is the way we can make a painkiller and hopefully turn that painkiller into a superpower for these people, so that for all these people with the pain, so they transform from pain to, oh my God, this is a whole new world. And I feel empowered in a way that, and so that's, if you start with the pain, then you can get people to listen to what you're building.
But you have to anticipate the pain. Right?
You have to anticipate it and
ahead of it.
Get the timing right.
Yeah,
right?
timing. My dad taught me that.
Right. Not too late.
Yeah.
And definitely not too early,
No, timing is everything.
right? Even if the technology's right, society has to catch up. Right?
Yeah, because
So-
walking over here, Tony and I were reminiscing about some things we did where they were early ideas that now you look at them and they would have been right on. So the
iPhone 15 years too early, then we were doing glasses. The two of us were making glasses 7 years ago. So the Meta
11
glasses
years
that you
ago.
guys see now, we were making those.
Okay, this is a good one. How do you navigate the tension between ambitious vision and real-world constraints? When do you push and when do you simplify?
Okay, well, it's always about simplification, but you can't oversimplify. So there's two things. There's one, implementing it, and then there's selecting what it is,
Yep.
right? And what I learned, again, at General Magic, was we took 4 years to build something. And the whole world had changed during those 4 years, and we had to get everything right, because it was the creators of the Macintosh who decided they needed to create the next thing, and I was like totally in it. It was this General Magic communicator. But when they first made the Mac, they forgot all these things in the first version of the Mac. Oh, we should have put this in, and oh, we should have put that in. So with General Magic we're going to do everything and make sure we make none of the mistakes that we did on the Mac. And it took 4 years and a lot of hard work. And then the market had changed by that, or the market had changed. Internet showed up. And so what I've learned is this is a long game.
Yeah.
And you have to ship and understand that usually it's the third version of the product where you nail it all. It takes 3 versions of the product or a service to get it right. The first one is you ship, the first version. The second one is you fix the thing that you shipped. And the third version is make the business work.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the fourth one is where you finally make some margin.
Yeah, and the
right?
fourth is like, okay, we get it. We figured it all out, right?
Yeah.
And now we're scaling and all that other stuff. But it takes 3 times to actually get it right. And regardless of it's software or it's hardware, whatever it is, you have to go through those iterations because you'll never get it right the first time.
And
No one
you're
does.
finding that true even with, I know you fund a lot of startups now who make hardware. Have things changed or that formula still works, right?
It's still that way because you have what you think is right. Then the market tells you what it's right after you've shipped it. And then you go, okay, that's what we're doing. Now let's make sure we get the business and all the sales right and the customer support right and the marketing right and everything. And it's just a natural progression. I've seen it with everything. Everything is three versions.
And what's your position on the role design plays and all that?
Well, there's designing the product, service, the user interface, whatever it is, but there's designing the entire journey, the customer journey from when they discover you, the marketing, the messaging, how they try the products, how they hear about the products from their friends, all the way through to, using it and updating it. And you need to that whole arc has to be well designed. It can't just be, oh, here's this cool thing and it just comes out of space. It doesn't work that way. You got to design the whole experience.
Yep.
Start to finish.
Okay, so let's talk about leadership. What are the most common mistakes teams make when trying to innovate?
They try
you
to do
mentioned
too much.
timing, yeah. Mhm.
Timing, too much. Data versus opinion. So data-driven decisions versus opinion-making decisions, right? Opinion-made decisions. When you do anything that's new and different, and if it's sufficiently different, you will never get enough data to know when you got it right till after you've shipped it. Too many people want to, especially in the corporate world, we know a few, especially in the company that comes a lot of data, is we are going to understand all the data and then we're going to make a decision and ship. And it's like, if you're going to do anything innovative, you can't get that data. You have to understand there's a gut level opinion-made decision. It could be data informed, but you're still going to have to make that decision. And if you look at most corporate America, what do they want? Is they want to be sure to tell the shareholders and their bosses that they're going to get it right. So what do? I got an idea. Then they hire McKinsey or some stupid consultancy. This is my idea. Don't you think it's great? And then you pay them millions of dollars to give you back your stuff with some data around it. And then they go, see, they even say I'm right. Okay, let's go do this. So everybody goes and does it, and then it fails. And then they can say, well, I didn't do it. McKinsey said it was going to be good. You can't fire me. I should get my bonus. These are the guys who said it was going to work. It's such bullshit. I can't believe it. And this has been played out for years and years and years, and nobody gets the game they're in.
I learned from Tony how you say what you think.
And you feel.
With passion. Yeah. No, I think some of you heard me say.
Good morning.
I think some of you heard me say yesterday that I believe intuition, everything we take in, 95% of it goes into our subconscious and only 5% in our cognitive mind. So when we get an intuitive hit, the non-data, it's actually coming from more data than from our cognitive mind. So
I fully agree with you. And this is the thing about AI that people don't understand. Everyone's like, AI is going to replace us. AI is going to replace us. AI is only as smart as the data it gets into it, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing is, that data that we put online or that data that we feel comes from our senses.
Yeah.
And our senses are not 5 senses. We have millions of senses in our body. Why does the hair stand up on the back of our neck? That's a sense, okay? We don't count that. These AI agents and what we put on the internet have nowhere near the millions of senses that we have, and then we regurgitate as text or video or whatever. Those agents those AI data pools don't get any of those senses that we have. So at the end of the day, the more we're emotionally in touch with what we do, the more we're psychologically in touch with what we do, how we understand and all of these senses around us is going to always keep us ahead. We don't even make camera sensors better than the eye today in all of your phones. We don't make better microphones than our ears. We don't make better speech than right? We can't replicate and sense the real world with all the digital technologies around us. Okay?
Yeah, no, I say machines have sensors, but not sensory systems, and that's very different.
And those sensors, the systems, are also the fidelity of the sensors.
Yeah.
And those sensors that we put in all of these things are nowhere near what we have in us. And so as long as we keep staying in touch with all of those emotions, all of those senses, and staying ahead and using the tools as opposed to fearing the tools, we are going to be superpowers. AI is a superpower, not necessarily always going to replace you.
Yeah, it's funny. We haven't seen each other in years, and people have heard me say exactly what you're saying. We are so aligned because I almost think AI is going to make us more creative because we're going to have to be, because AI is taking some of the rational things off of our plate to allow us to exercise our imagination and creativity and use it as a tool so that we can co-create together. And we can't even imagine what that looks like, so that could be scary, the unknown.
For sure.
But I think it is imperative, because I think we've been operating a bit like machines ourselves with efficiency and productivity. And so the universe sent the machines in. It's like, okay, you humans, now what are you going to do? And so I think we really have to take that challenge on and get to know our sensory systems and ourselves better, because we do have a unique perspective, and we have to begin to develop what I call the technologies of the sacred, which is the ones we have inside of us that we haven't developed. And then watch out, because I think us plus some of AI intelligence is going to take us all to another level.
I fully agree with you. And if we look, it's just the pendulum of life swinging. Mm-hmm. So think about the Middle Ages before the Renaissance, right? When the Renaissance came and we had the Medicis and everything else, we had systems and we had banking, we had governmental structures and security structures where we could have time for artists and other things to flourish because we had the technology of food and protection and everything else. And so we can get to that next level. The pendulum, we went through the industrial age, and then we came efficiency. Now it's going to go the other way back to creativity, because we're going to have these systems that can help us. Obviously, they can be used for bad, but at the same time, if we use them properly, we can have another renaissance,
Yeah, no, and I think out of chaos comes creativity. So we're in a bit of the chaos stage, but I am optimistic. But to your point, any anything can be used for good or bad, so we have to stay on top of it. And I think AI, not only will it be helpful for us for rational things, but health, education, some of the things Mark talked about. I mean, it's gonna do some really amazing things.
Use it? Use it every day?
A little bit. I am playing with it. Yes, I have to, and I enjoy it, and that's how, it's a reciprocal. It learns from you, you learn from it. So and it's actually, I can't say a lot, but there are
Okay, you can ask me questions.
some ways it's going to be used for creativity that will be exciting, which I think will give people more a sense of agency over their own creativity. Are you using it a lot?
I use it constantly. I use it constantly, and I use different engines for different things, and continually innovating and finding new things. I'm reading about it all the time and seeing how other people are using it, and then integrating that into what I do. So whether it's I'm designing a house and remodeling and doing a huge design in Paris right now on a place, and so I'm doing it to do visualizations, and I'm doing it for design of a ceiling tile and design so I'm doing that, but then I'm also using it to go and learn about certain new types of audio and electrical systems, and then I use it in all kinds of different ways.
No, I think the key is we all have to share with each other how we're using it, because we're co-creating new ways to use it.
There's some incredible blogs, some incredible YouTube channels out there that you can learn a lot that I recommend people dive into.
So you've raised concerns about the speed of tech development. What does responsible innovation look like today?
It's tough. It's tough because you have all this money pouring in. I remember, it's not the same, but I remember this in 1998, 99, when everybody was rushing to build fiber optic networks around the world and data centers at that thing. And then the crash came and everybody was like, there's not going to be any more bricks and mortar. Remember that bricks and mortar's dead. And, and so as we can tell, that didn't happen. So there's a lot of pontification and a lot of BS that's being said about AI today. We're not going to have enough power on the on the planet, and no, it's bullshit. It's just that we're in definitely 1.0 of this stuff. So when you talk about responsibility, there's one which is what we do to the planet, and then there's what we do to society. And I think the environmental thing, just because of economic pressures, that's going to resolve itself. But when it comes to society, you have the economic pressures in the wrong way around that. And we can see a lot of bad actors out there. And you can see how many deep fakes and a lot of these things. So unfortunately, the companies, we're going to rely a lot on the companies to do the right thing. And the governments are going to have to get in line. But it's going to be a while. They just don't move as fast as they need to. But it also is up to the creators to say, I'm not going to put up with this. And which is really interesting, because when I see the amount of talent moving from OpenAI to Anthropic, which has been much more stated about being safe and those kinds of things. So the talent, because it's so scarce, can move very quickly to other places where maybe they have better values and systems. So that's a great thing, where you didn't necessarily have that even 20 years ago. Because there's so much, it's the creative destruction's happening so quickly now that I think that people are going to choose where they want to be, because they know the people who are building this stuff are incredibly smart, and a lot of them have good value systems, which is interesting.
So talk about building. What's going to be the role of hardware within this AI world? Because I'm sure you saw, we were talking backstage about Johnny Ives and OpenAI and the $6 billion sale for this mysterious whatever they're building. But what do you think the role, is that going to change the role of hardware? The hardware format's going to change?
When we did Nest, I never wanted more screens in the house. You remember this. I hated having screens in the house. I made Nest so it would dim down so you wouldn't see it unless you're really interacting with it. I hated all this digital distraction we had around us. And then what happened was everyone's like, okay, we're going to put more screens in the house, as you know, which was disappointing. Anyways, but the whole goal was to She didn't, that wasn't her decision, trust me. Trust me, I know whose decision it was. Ivy has a lot more taste. So I guess the way I think about it is that AI allows these devices to recede in the background much, much more. You might have sensors, right? Right, like, hey, I got a ring, right? But it doesn't have a a display on it, as opposed to a smartwatch that has a big ass display and is just an accessory for your phone. Like, trying to get rid of this stuff, trying to make it more ambient, and I believe now we have the AI engines to be able to do that. You're seeing that with, the Meta glasses. You're seeing these things. So, some of the stuff we were doing in the past, which was, okay, make it so that you can be engaged, but still have those superpowers with you, but they're not blocking you from the engagement with others. And so I'm hopeful that, because I've been doing some, AI design stuff as well, and device design, that it's going to become much more behind the scenes, and your devices will become smaller instead of bigger screens. You're going to get smaller screens. Because you're going to be able to talk to it, or it's going to be able to know and predict what it is you want and ask you things and that kind of stuff. You'll still need a display, but I'm very hopeful that these are going to be able to be minimized over time.
And you think eventually they'll go away altogether?
No, I don't think they'll ever go away.
Be embedded in our environment?
Visual is so powerful in terms of being able to present information. It's, explain, like, I'm doing a ton of architecture work. And so when I'm on a phone call and I'm like explaining, well, if you put this in this corner of this room, like, forget it. Like, just put up a drawing and it's so much faster. So you're never going to get rid of the visual. You just can't have the visual. You have to do everything through visual interaction. I just don't think that's smart.
It's funny, at Milan Salone this year, myself and my team did an exhibition called Making the Invisible Visible. And all the tech writers immediately got on the phone and said, oh, are you saying hardware is going away and dissolving? I said, no.
Yeah. Just like everyone's like, oh, well, whatever this thing is, it's going to replace a phone. No. Everyone's like, oh, and this is going to replace this. If we've learned anything about technology, it's always additive. There's always more things you're going to add. You usually don't scrape away anything else. Like, oh, personal computers are coming. We're getting rid of mainframes. Guess what? Mainframes are just data centers now. So we don't get rid of technology. We just keep layering things on and making them work together. So this is not going away.
Yep. A fun fact about Tony is he was born in Detroit. Do you believe it?
The big D.
Yeah.
So was my mom. My grandfather.
Raise your hand, Mom.
There's my mom, is fat.
And I want you to know, Mom was not styled by Tony. Mom styled Mom. So, I mean, he gets his taste from her, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, my grandfather was superintendent of schools here in Detroit. So, yeah, been around a long time.
Learned that, and I think his son must have gotten some of the music in him from
Detroit.
Detroit. Yeah, he's going to be producing or playing.
He's got a record contract.
At age 17, right?
Yeah.
So what are you most excited about that you've invested in? I know you're still designing, you're investing, you're out there combing the world. That you could talk about.
Since Nest, basically it was like finding really smart people around the world who are doing incredibly transformative things with technology to change the systems that we have for the better. And so, I don't know, we'll start with this one. That's Diamond Foundry, Vray. We're the world's largest creator of lab-grown diamonds. So instead of blood diamonds, we make lab diamonds. But even more importantly, these diamonds are now turning into diamond semiconductors. So we're making these as diamonds as wafers. And these wafers are going to make AI processors that work 10 times faster for the same amount of power. So when you hear about these nuclear-powered data centers, like literally, we are making diamond wafers this big, and you're going to make power semiconductors and very high-speed digital semiconductors on diamond wafers. And this is all coming right now. So that's one company, so transforming with that, as well as jewelry, whatever you want. Cancer vaccine company called Orianis. We're in FDA phase 2 trials. We've had 100 patients through. No toxicity issues, nobody's gotten sick, and we're actually curing them. So that's coming very soon. Many different types of cancers. We have pre-nuvo full body scan. So MRI full body scan. 6 of my friends have been saved. They found stage 1 cancer. They found all kinds of different stage 1 aneurysm detection. Pre-nuvo's coming. They're in about 40 clinics now. But full body detection, 40 minutes, $2,000. Watch Netflix while you do it, and I swear by it.
I know Tony just convinced me backstage to do it. I said, I'm claustrophobic. He said, no, you go in there and you watch TV, it's all over.
Or just listen to music, whatever you want.
Music, yeah.
40 minutes, it's all good. What else are we doing? We're doing AI, of course. AI for fabrics, AI for recycling. I don't know. I got 200 companies. So anyways, lots of different companies doing all kinds of crazy transformative. Oh, we're making a Jet Zero.
A
Jet
what?
Zero.
What's that?
Jet Zero. We're making a plane that uses 50% less fuel.
Oh, cool. What does it use?
It uses regular fuel and regular engines and regular avionics. It just
Okay.
has a whole different shape.
Oh, got it.
So it looks like a B-2 bomber, but it works at all the airports all around. It uses 50% less fuels. 200, 300 people on it, the same speed, same airports, half the runway.
So the shape has changed.
The shape's changed.
Yeah.
And so, but we're doubling the amount of flights we have in the next 25 years on the planet, but we have 0 ways to making those green. And so this is a plane that'll start flying with the Defense Department in 2029. And then it will be commercial. So you'll see them at, DTW and stuff.
No, that's
2032, something like that.
Yeah,
So that's another thing I'm doing.
Yeah, that's great. That's a beautiful way to think about it. Change the shape of things to come, right?
Just change the shape. Everything else is the same.
Yeah. So has investing right now, because I know some of my friends, it's so hard to find money.
It is.
Yeah.
Unless you have AI in your name. But yeah.
Yeah. And so what would be your advice? I know there's folks here that are starting companies. Is there anything you'd advise them in that regards?
The biggest thing, it depends on whether you're doing hardware, software, anything. If you don't have AI in it, really you need to. Because whether that's whatever you're trying to do, in the multiple companies that I'm working in and designing for now, we always have, in the board meetings, everything, it's like, what are we doing with our operations or our products or whatever around AI? Like how are we transforming this company with AI or the products that or both, that we serve customers with? So if you don't have an AI story of some way that you're supercharging your team to create whatever it is you're creating, then you're not going to get any funding whatsoever. And you should be doing that for yourself, regardless of whether you're doing, you're raising money or not. There's always good ways to use AI now, even though it hallucinates from time to time. There's a lot of things to use. Other things, build a lot of demos. Usually you can, more than that, you can actually build products with AI now in certain cases.
Quicker, right?
And quicker, and get them out there and already start learning. You remember I said version 1, 2, and 3. Make that version 1.0 as fast as possible, as lightweight as possible, so you already get feedback, so you can evolve much more quickly.
And I know, what's your position on privacy and security? There was a conversation the other day about we're going to be creating our AI twins. To do that, you have to give over a lot of information. What's your position on that?
So I see things like with agents, I'm seeing a lot more of the trend will be, I'm not saying it's now, but it's starting. Again, timing is everything. But where you're going to own your own data, and then you're going to allow people to have access to it versus the other way around. Whereas you pour everything into Google, and then it gets resold. You're going to go the other way. There's something called Inrupt that you got to work on.
Help himself, but to mention the G word, right?
Oh, whatever. Google, Apple, you name them. Microsoft, Amazon. No, but it's going to be where you have your data and you're going to grant access to it and revoke access. to it. That's coming, especially in the world of agents, because you're going to give some data to your agents who are going to go off and do things in the virtual world for you and come back. So I'm a chief design officer and board member at a company called Ledger, and we make these digital signer devices so that you know who you are, proof of humanity, proof of you, for every transaction, for every time you log on, and it's unhackable. We have tens of millions of these things sold that have never been hacked. And we're going to continue. You're going to see this becoming very, very prevalent over the next 5 years, where you're going to have these digital IDs, hardware IDs, because your phones are hackable, totally hackable. That you're going to be able to verify personhood, so that when you can sign a document, you can sign a photo, a video, that you know on the other side the person can verify that and understand that's you, not a deep fake, what have you. This is coming. We're seeing governments now really taking this on seriously. So more and more of this is coming. So we need better privacy. We need better security. And by you holding your own data and having real credentials that are unhackable, that's going to be a huge part of having an online life.
And what I know, you have children. I have grandchildren. Someday maybe you'll have grandchildren. So I think about, the world that my grandchildren are growing up in. What are you most excited about, and what are you most fearful of in the future?
Well, I watched my daughter when she was 2. And she would pick up an iPad, and she couldn't read or write, but she learned how to use the voice commands and voice stuff, to make it read to her, for her to translate. And she was picking up and using this stuff and communicating at 2 and 3, and she couldn't read or write.
Well, I think kids are rewired. The universe is a great designer. I literally think that they are rewired for what's coming.
And it's crazy to watch this, and then watch them using the AI stuff and everything else. So the big thing is having the right AI agents that they can work with, so they can train them. I have this thing that I've been working on. I call it an AI nanny, but it goes from an AI nanny to an AI tutor to an AI. So
it grows up with you.
It grows up with you, because look, we talked about starting with pain, right? How many in here have kids? Okay. How many have kids young enough that they're screaming to you about digital devices and they want access to them? Okay. You understand how much pain that is, right? If every day you get, I need my iPad, I need my phone, where's this? I can't do this. I need a log on for this. I need to get my Robux. You go fucking nuts dealing with digital devices and your kids. But you know that you can't just take them away from them, because digital literacy is really important. So what if you have an AI agent that you put on top of an AI nanny that does the screen time properly, make sure that they're not watching YouTube videos that suck, sorry. If you want to have your kid learn half in English and half in Spanish, like literally the AI nanny sits on these devices and helps to educate, and you say, oh, they're having problems with these math skills, and then goes and finds a math game, a game that's in math that they can go and learn these math skills. This is the kind of thing where we can take these devices and turn them from these incredible painkillers into incredible painkillers, from this pain that we suffer as parents, because we know we need these kids to have them, but they're addictive. So how can we pull it back? So I've been working on something around these kinds of things, because I think it's so important, and we need our kids to learn to use them properly, but maybe we can actually educate them better, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you say 30% of your days in Chinese, 30% in English, 30% in French, and then it just, you're like, oh my God, it's like the ultimate. So these are the kind of things that I'm really excited about for new technology and the new generations.
I know what happens when you get excited over something. It means fasten your seatbelt. We're going to see it. We're going to see it happen. Lastly, I would love to talk about the role of arts in the future. Art and the arts.
When you say art, are you saying digital art or any kind of NFTs, generative art?
Well, first of all, how do you believe that, and we touched on this a little bit, because I often get asked about creativity and AI. Like, is AI going to kill creativity? And I think we just talked about, we believe that it's going to actually amplify it. And then the role of the, I'll say, non-digital arts, but because I believe that as you said, we're different than the sensors that we have on computers. We have sensory systems. So we're going to need to continue to enliven our sensory systems with whether it's poetry, painting, architecture. I mean, being in the real world, to help exercise that muscle. And I know you're a fan of beauty and art and architecture as well. So I mean, I think it's a balance, and that they'll continue to need to be even more so. The more we get into this other world, we'll need to balance it with the two sides. I think it's not either or, it's and both, I guess.
I'm with you. You just answered your question for me. So, no, but I look at this and I just think, I remember when the drum machine came in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, yes, I'm old. And everyone's like, it's the death of drumming, like everything, like the death of retail, like every time the technology, and then it comes out, sampling, it's the death of music, no one's creative anymore, and where we're at. So I think that it's just gonna up our game, because I just think about, when we were doing designs together, we're like, okay, we'll try this option, we'll try this option, we'll try this option, but we can't do many more options than that, even though we had other great ideas, because it was time and money, and now you can explore 30 different options in an afternoon or faster. And you're like, this, and we can walk those paths much more quickly, and we can end up in areas we didn't even know we were going to start with in the same day, versus like it used to be 6 months and tons of money, and you're like, we can't go down there. We just don't have the time. So we can be we can push the boundaries much more quickly. And so we're going to see evolution even faster, which in the creative arts, that's what you want to have, right?
Yeah,
because everybody,
absolutely.
There's only so much, especially if you're, an upcoming artist, you only have so many resources to be able to tap into, So I'm really excited to where we're headed next.
Cool. I know I have some writer friends who are using AI. They used to, if they have a year to write a book, half the year was spent doing research and the other half doing creative writing. And now AI can do like 80% of the research for them. So that is a month. And then they have 11 months to be creative. So I want to end with a little bit about, I know I thought your book Build was great in that it was very candid, direct advice to not only a little bit about your own story, but then advice to founders and inventors and creators. And I know you're working on another book. Maybe just give, I know it's not out, I know it's not finished, but maybe a teaser as to some new advice you'd give, or a little bit about this next phase.
Oh, the things in the book?
Well, just one or two teasers.
One or two teasers. Oh my God, you really put me on. I should not have told you this. She's getting back at me for all the Google things. Okay, I think the biggest one, and I'm exploring, is the transformation of teams, and how the human nature doesn't change, but how the tools now, and how you're going to blur boundaries between the disciplines that we used to have, business, legal, product, marketing, hardware engineering, software engineering, logistics, customer support. We had such hard boundaries.
Yeah, individual
swim lanes, and you had to all work together. And then it was the people at the top had to really understand all the different languages and communicate between those.
Right.
And now what you're seeing is much more this swirling mass of people who are much more multidisciplinary, and they might have their swim lane, but the swim lanes are pretty wide now, and they overlap, and the ripples go weld into it. So you're seeing the human nature is still the same in terms of, each person has their ego, and they have their things that they want to accomplish with their careers and all the other stuff. But you're seeing much more I guess, empathy and understanding, and even in some case experience with many of the other swim lanes in a company, and that can and the companies don't have to be as large anymore, and you don't have as much of these communications, major communication things that used to have to happen. Like all this stuff happens, and then boom, it can be much more fluid. So that's something I'm infusing in the new book.
Yeah, I mean, less people, but each person is broader. I know it's
and I have a set of tools that they can collaborate with.
It's interesting because in the beginning of my career, I was a CMO, a head of marketing, a head of design, a head of development, and people said, "What are you?" And I said, "I'm on this learning journey because I need to understand all of it to be good at any of it." But I think we are moving toward this multidisciplinary world where, I mean, you look at bioengineering, it's engineers working with designers. I mean, scientists working with designers. So I think it's going to be this cross-pollination of perspectives. I mean, because the problems we're solving, and design is about solving problems, are so more complicated.
They're systems.
Yeah, that you need that multidisciplinary viewpoint, and not just assembling a team, but each of those people to have a zoomed out perspective as well as a zoomed in perspective to be able to address the issues of our time.
Absolutely. And when I look at, I have a lot of people coming to me, kids coming to me because they read the book and they go, "Oh, what should I study in school? What should I major in?" And I'm like, it's not going to be one major.
Right.
Or it's a new major that doesn't exist yet, where it's got to be it's like, okay, you're going to learn some comp sci, but you're also going to go learn biology, or you're going to go learn data science and psychology or philosophy. Remember how, if you go into LS&A, language, science, and arts, because go blue, and you go, you go to LS&A, everyone's like, they're just going to LS&A, they're never going to do anything. And you got to go to engineering or business or legal. Now, all of a sudden, guess what? That LS&A is going to be so important for so many things. Like, people are like, well, maybe the only skills we're going to really need is philosophy and psychology and stuff like that, because AIs are going to do everything, which I don't believe. But my point is the pendulum is swinging again, and these teams need to have much more of this. And this is what Ivy has been preaching for 20 or more years, and you've been on the forefront of this in terms of how much.
Come. No, finally. No, you're right. Actually, there was I think they brought me in to give a talk or something, but it's engineering school in Berkeley that was combining with the spirituality school. So engineers having to take classes in spirituality, and I know that Alice Walton is starting a medical school where the doctors have to take art classes, because understanding how art taps into personal expression, you understand humanity better, you have more empathy. So I think this idea of, and I think that's a much more exciting education, to be able to cross-pollinate like that versus, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's like one thing your whole life, and then you're a better version of that. So I'm excited about the future.
Yeah, it couldn't be more, and especially if you're in engineering or anything, you don't have to take differential equations and all this stupid stuff. You're like, I don't need that.
So in our last 30 seconds, anything else you want to say while you have the stage?
I've been able to watch from being a kid in Detroit, getting my first personal computer in the '81, and watching it come all the way to the AI thing, and going through every single dislocation and everything, and all the upheavals of the world's going to change and we're not going to have any more jobs. Like, I guess I've been through 7 or 8 of these huge disruptions, and this is arguably the biggest by. But look, hang on. Be curious, stay creative, stay hungry, just continue to get in there. And it's going to, and just lead your way through it. Don't wait for someone to pull you. Just lead yourself through it. And we'll get to the other side, and there's going to be a lot of great creativity along the way.
Well, thanks for coming back to Detroit. Thanks, Mom, for bringing them back.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for waking up.